Hey guys, so if you are a returning person to my channel, you might be like, girl, where, what? And I'm going to explain all that. And if you are somebody newly subscribed to my channel, welcome. Hopefully you find something here that will be beneficial to you and help you maybe figure out something about yourself that you didn't know. My channel has always been a channel about hair and beauty. Beautiful Calamity being the name currently. Gone through a couple of names. It's Natural Generation and all these other things. But I haven't made a video in a very long time because I just wasn't trying to do nothing with my hair, man. Like, I cut my hair off. I think is the last thing that you guys saw on this channel about my hair. I cut it in kind of like an asymmetrical, top heavy style because I was just tired of my hair. And as you can see, it's grown back out quite a bit. Got my nice little fur going on again. But I do the same stuff and I just don't have an interest, honestly, in doing hair stuff because I do the same thing to my hair. I'm happy with the, the products that I'm using, and so buying products solely for the intention of trying them out to make videos, I'm just really not interested in that anymore. So that's no longer what this channel will be about. All the old videos will stay up though. So if you came here for the hair videos, there are a ton of hair videos that are already listed on this channel that you can go to, and probably any question that you have about my hair has already been answered. So feel free. What I'll do is I think I'll make some playlists that, people can go directly to those things. Now, that out of the way, what the channel is going to be now. So I've always, I don't know if I've been clear, but my regular job is that of a therapist. That is what I do for work. That's what I do to take care of myself, and it's also what I do that gives me a sense of purpose. So this is going to be more stuff that I feel like would be beneficial to people. Like, I've talked on this channel about dating before and about how difficult dating has been for me, but I've talked about it from the perspective of them, like of the men, of what, what's out here now, that kind of thing. What I want to do now is focus some on the things that, we as single people, me and anybody watching this, can be doing to kind of work on ourselves. Because at some point you become the common denominator, So yes, it's difficult to date. Yes, it's a bunch of crazy people out here. But there's also some things about us that we may not have a good understanding of that contributes to the difficulties that we have in dating. So that is more along the lines, those kinds of things are more along the lines of what the channel's going to be. It's still going to be called Beautiful Calamity because I feel like that's what life is. It is a beautiful calamity. It's beautiful in all of its chaos sometimes. And I'm still Calamity Red. I still have my podcast if you're interested. I'll also leave the link for that in the description below as well. It's Compensation Card Artist. I am Calamity Red. I'm going to continue to go by that moniker because I think that it's a good way for me to separate what I do in the real world as opposed to what this will be on here. So you call me Red for short. If you have questions, feel free to email them to me. If you have ideas or things that you would like to ask me about from the point of view of a therapist, email them to me. Email address will be down below as well, and we can go from there. So let's get into what this video is about though. So when I was in grad school, first of all, let me say that I grew up in a family with a father that was an alcoholic, still currently is an alcoholic, but it was kind of a one of those unhealthy cycles that go through families. My grandfather was an alcoholic. My mom married an alcoholic. My father is an alcoholic, and I'm trying to stop that cycle by doing some different things and trying to cut that cycle off. And so because of that, there are things, because of me growing up with an alcoholic as a parent, there are things that contributed to as far as my personality is concerned, the way that I'm going to look at things. When I was in grad school, I came across this book, and if you are somebody that has a parent or parental figure in your life who was an alcoholic or a substance user, the struggle for intimacy is an amazing book. It's an older book, but you would be amazed at how much it will speak to your life. Like, oh my goodness. That I'll also leave the link for it on Amazon. I read it in grad school and it blew me away. And then here recently, I went to a training for work that encouraged me or inspired me to go reread it. And girl, look, when I tell you that Janet know my whole life and everything about who I am, and it's weird and it's great at the same time, it's like, what? So what my first few videos I want to make it is that I'm helping share some of the things from that particular book, because it's a book based on how difficult it can be for people who are the adult children of alcoholics to develop relationships and to develop intimacy within the relationships, just because of some of the things that you've unconsciously been taught through your experiences and having that parent. So today we're going to be talking about why do we pick the people that we pick, because again, at some point, girl, you are the common denominator. So I have my handy little book here, so if you see me looking down, it's because I'm just looking down at the notes that I made so I can make sure that I hit all the points that I wanted to hit. I'm trying not to make this video long, because who wants to sit and listen to like a 20-minute video about this stuff? So I want to hit it. I want to do this in a way in which it's watchable and it's relatable and it's something that you can watch in a short amount of time but find something to take with you. So, because our parents are our first examples of most things, before you even go to school and your peer group becomes somebody that you see that is your example, your parents are your example. And so there's a lot of distorted messages that we can carry over into adulthood with us that we kind of got from living in a household that was chaotic, as most households with an alcoholic or a substance user in them can have a tendency to be. And so some of these are messages that you have that you may not recognize that you have, that if you can get that recognition and work on it a little bit, it helps. So let me give you an example. I love you, but go away. This one is so me. I really want to be in a relationship, but at the same time, I don't want to be bothered with the things that come with it, or I just don't want to. It's a lot, you know. And part of that is because I grew up in a household where I was given that same kind of a message, you know. Sometimes my dad would be very, and then mostly when he was drinking, but he would be, you know, like proud of us and we were the greatest thing ever. And then other times it was like, y'all suck, go away, it's the worst thing, you're the worst thing ever, you're the biggest disappointment ever. And so because of that kind of back and forth, I have a tendency to have that same back and forth with the people in my life. And again, this is something that I was doing that I didn't necessarily realize. And reading this book, I was like, whoo, girl, that sounds just like you, Red. Like, whoo. Sometimes this stuff hits you and you like, whoo, child. Another distorted message that you can receive is that you can't do anything right, but I need you. Like, you feel like you're contributing to the issues that are happening, but you also are part of the responsibility, or you feel like you have part of responsibility in trying to maintain whatever sense of balance there is in the household. And so again, this is kind of one of those things that you can carry with you into adulthood, where you can develop a sense of codependency, where it's you question about everything that you do and whether or not it's good enough, or whether it's not, it is helpful or beneficial, but you also feel like it's your duty to be helpful and it's your duty to be doing all of these things. And so it kind of leaves you with this conflict. Another one is, yes, it's true your parents said those terrible things, but you must understand that they were drunk. You start making excuses for the people in your life because you were given excuses for people's bad behavior in your life as a child. So, and this one is so true. When I tell you that my mom would say this so much about the things that would go on and the things that my dad would do, and it would be, well, it's not him, it's, you know, he's drinking, and so it taking the responsibility off of him. And in relationships, I have seen, or looking back, I realized I've done that. I have made excuses, a lot of times excuses that had something to do with me, as to why someone would be doing the wrong things, or not treating me the way that I needed to be treated, or not treating me good. And so I learned to make excuses, because I had been in a household where excuses were made for bad behavior all the time. Like, it was never his fault. It was always the alcohol. It was always, you know, if he wasn't drinking, he never would have said that. If he wasn't drinking, he never would have done that. If he wasn't drinking, he wouldn't feel that way. Which, as I got older, I recognized that that's bullshit, and that, you know, you don't just come up with like random stuff when you drink. You know, it has a lot to do with how you're already feeling, or the things that you already think. But I, again, was taught that, oh, you don't really pay attention to that because you know he was drinking. It's not a big deal. And so we have a tendency to make a lot of excuses for the people in our lives for their bad behavior, because it's something we became accustomed to through growing up. I'll be there for you next time. I give you my word. Is another distorted message. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, yeah, it's still not taking responsibility. Like, yeah, I know I should have done this for you, but I'm going to do that. You know, the next time I'm going to be there. Don't you worry. I got you. And so you get into this situation where you keep waiting for improvement to happen in relationships, because you were kind of in this sense of limbo, waiting for your parent to show you that they were going to be like a good parent, and that they were going to come through on the things that they said. And so it's like, I got, you know, next time. And so what you might find is that in relationships, you're doing the same thing. It's like, okay, yes, he told me we were going out and he canceled, or he just didn't show up, but, you know, he said he's going to do better, and I have to give him an opportunity to do better. And you keep doing that, you know. And I'm going to use he for the pronouns that I'm referring to, because obviously I'm female and straight. But this could go for if you are a man who had an alcoholic mom. This would go the same thing for you. These are the same messages that we all kind of receive when we grow up in those kind of households. And you don't really think about how seeing that, which is your first example of a relationship, it's their first example of what you should and shouldn't take, respond to, have in a relationship. You don't realize how much of that you carry with you into adulthood. So that is another distorted message. And then the last one I want to talk about today is everything is fine, don't worry. But how do I deal with this? Like, my mom would try to create a sense of normalcy in the house, but it was confusing because she's saying it's fine, everybody's acting like it's fine, but it wasn't fine. And so then I felt this conflict of everybody keeps saying that everything is okay, but it's like, it's obviously not okay. And what am I supposed to do to actually make it okay? And is there something wrong with me? Because they're all acting like it's fine, and they're all okay with the way things are. And so it kind of puts you in this, you just don't know what to do. And again, this can carry over into adulthood, where it's like you don't deal with the things that you maybe need to deal with because you don't know how to deal with them. And so you're so used to pretending that everything is fine that you continue to do that in your own life with your own issues and your own things. And then there's this dichotomy of pretending like everything is fine and wanting everyone around you to think that everything is fine, but internally being like, how am I supposed to deal with this? What am I supposed to do with this? And so it can come across as you being disingenuous sometimes. It could come across as people feeling like they don't really know who you are. And sadly, sometimes you don't know who you are. You know, for me, it was well after college before I really got a grasp on who I was, or who I felt like I was, before I started building that identity. Because for me, my identity had been so steeped in my dad and his drinking, and how that impacted our family, and you know how the people at school viewed it and looked, because I grew up in a small town, so they knew about it. And so carving out an identity for myself that was separate from that was hard as shit. It was very hard. So these are some of the things when you are out here trying to decide who you're going to date, that you kind of have to take into consideration. And these are things that have nothing to do with the people that you're going to encounter. These are things that have nothing to do with the guys that you meet, the women that you meet. This has something to do with your beliefs and the way that your belief system has been set up through your experiences, and recognizing it. Self-awareness is going to be your best friend. If you're an adult child of an alcoholic, one of the things that has helped me extensively has been self-awareness and realizing some of these things and consciously making an effort to do something different. And so what I want my channel and these videos to be is something that maybe clicks something in your subconscious, that maybe it was something that you didn't recognize that was contributing to the way that your life has been. And once it clicks and you have that recognition and you have that self-awareness, now you have the power to do something about it. Because the only people in our lives that can change things for us is us. Change comes from within. Change is something that you do when you're ready to do it and when you have all the information needed. And so that's what this is. It's giving you hopefully some information that you can use in making your life a little bit better. And it's going to be based off of my experiences because, again, I am an adult child of an alcoholic. I have lived that life and currently still living that life and dealing with that. But I also have the training as a therapist and my experience as a therapist and working with people. And I won't be bringing you any examples of, cases and clients because confidentiality. Girl, I'm not trying to get in trouble. So it won't be that, but it's going to be more based upon some tips and tricks and things that to give you to look at that you might not have kind of looked at it before in that way. Hopefully that all made sense. Hopefully this is something that you'll find interesting. Like I said, if you're a returning person who's been subscribed to me and this is like no longer your thing, I feel you, I get it, and it's cool. For any new people that may have came across this because you were looking for this thing specifically, I hope that I'm able to give you something that you can walk away from these videos feeling a little bit better, like, okay, one, it ain't just me, because sometimes it feels like it's just you and you're crazy and like nobody gets it. One, that it's not just you. There are other people that deal with this, go through this, or figuring this out. And two, okay, I have some new information. Now, what do I do with this new information to try to make my life better for myself? To try to make better decisions in who I date? And yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. I will answer them to the best of my ability and my training and experience and all of those things. If you have any ideas or some things that you would like to see me discuss from the point of view of a therapist, leave that down below as well. Or you can send me an email if you have a specific scenario that you would like some advice, some insight on, and we can do it that way. So yeah, hopefully you guys found this helpful, and I will see you in my next one. Later, loves. Bye.